The Indian Miss World and the Rage of Muslims of the World. A novel by Dr. A. Ahmed. This story continues the story of the Arab sugar daddy and the beautiful Indian girl and the story of the Indian child bride and the old Arab husband. They were written in English and translated into Arabic by Dr. A. Ahmed. It is a love story narrated in 6 books. Book 3. From a Slum Girl to the Queen of the World Beauty. Copyright. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the author except by a reviewer, who may quote brief passages from a review for printing in a public newspaper, general magazine, school journal, or university article. All characters in this novel are fictional and any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is merely coincidental. Chapter 46. The halal Islamic matrimony is the only available option. The new 2 intimate lovers slipped into a wonderful daily routine after they had confessed their love for each other and had sex for the first time. On the following day, Jimmy took his beloved to the Romanian woman and she is hired without incident. Amrita Khan was not willing to accept payment, but the Romanian woman refused to have her work as a volunteer. She is scared that Amrita may sue her later on and accuse her of making her work without pay. She had a recent bad experience with a Filipino couple who helped her in her house for a few months and then took her to court accusing her of maltreatment and making them work like slaves in her home without her paying them. Consequently, Amrita Khan has been compelled to work for wages. She decided to work only 4 hours a day. Following this new schedule of events, Jimmy visits his beloved girlfriend each morning at her apartment and has breakfast with her. Then, he takes his new love to work. After that, he tends to his cabbie service for 4 hours until his beloved small girlfriend finishes her part-time job. He then goes back to her workplace, picks her up, and takes her somewhere in the city where they both enjoy the rest of the day. Lovers dine at restaurants or, when the opportunity presents itself, travel to out-of-town casino destinations. One of Amrita's favorite places is the swimming pool. She told her lover that she knows how to swim and enjoys it a lot. Actually, Ifat Khan had been taught swimming lessons by an Iranian woman when she was kept imprisoned in the mansion of terror of her first evil captor in Tehran. When she was held captive by the wicked film director in India, he used to make her swim in one of her sexy bikinis for his sexual amusement. Sometimes, he used to rape her in the open or inside the warm water. She now decidedly has the enjoyment of swimming with the added dimension of flaunting her body while in a bikini. Jimmy, of course, has absolutely no complaints. She bought many sexy swimsuits and always packs one in her handbag when she goes out. Whenever she enters the swimming pool facilities, she will be dressed in her black burqa. Once she goes to the women's changing room, she puts on her bikini and emerges as a different young woman. Some workers at the pool facility and female visitors noticed her strange behavior and wondered what kind of a hypocritical Muslim girl she was. Amrita's second favorite place is the public movie theater. Her lover takes her every Tuesday and Thursday to watch the latest movie featuring an Indian film. There's a theater in town that specializes in playing Bollywood new movies. After watching the first movie showcase, she decided never to miss any new premieres on the big screen. She enjoys sitting by her lover, watching the dancing and romantic Indian films, which is generally a prerequisite for all Indian hit movies. While they are sitting together, she loves to feel her lover's arms around her, his hand on her leg, or holding her hand. It gives her a great sense of togetherness and protection and enhances their foreplay. Her lover's touches in the darkness of the theater always stimulate her sexually and make her ready for him. When they return to her apartment, her lover carries her in his arms, takes her directly to the bedroom, lays her body on the king bed, and makes love to her. Interestingly, the designated movie day at the theater will turn into a lover's lane and a prelude to lovemaking. Essentially, that became the lovers' routine during the weekdays. Saturdays and Sundays are a little different. Without the need to work, they occupy their time by preparing food dishes. After preparing their favorite Indian dishes, they eat together. Amrita loves to be pampered by her lover. He makes her sit on his lap and then his hands feed her. Her lover cuts the peelings off an apple and makes her eat it from one end, and he eats from the other end until their mouths meet in a kiss. On their weekend of leisure, they spend time on another favorite activity, which is taking baths together. Whenever they take a bath together, they end up making love inside the bathtub. Sometimes, the lovers go to a nearby town or city and spend time at the beach or in a public park over there. Amrita had never been to a beach in all her life until she met her Uncle Jimmy. Her modus operandi has not changed. She travels to whatever beach her lover takes her to in the same black burqa until she reaches the ladies' washroom. She then leaves the women's changing room in a sexy bikini and assumes the role of the sexiest girl on the beach. Her beautiful body makes every pair of male eyes pop out of its socket. The hot sun and warm water of the beach always make the burqa girl feel the urge for sex. Their beach frolicking inevitably ends up in a hotel room, where they shower and end up in bed together. A few times, she put on a Muslim girl's black burkini instead of a Western girl's colorful bikini. The burkini is a burqa converted into a bikini. It is just like someone trying to convert a ghost into an angel. The 3 months of bliss have whisked by so joyfully for the beloved girl Amrita Khan and her wonderful lover Uncle Jimmy. For her, she has just reached a new plateau in life. She had never enjoyed life or understood the power of love until she met her handsome man, Uncle Jimmy, and fell in love with him. He gave her the most wonderful days of her life. She loves him with all her very being. If a human being can worship his fellow human being, Amrita Khan has already made her lover Jimmy her god of love, and she is worshipping him every minute of her wonderful new life as their days are joyfully passing by. Likewise, Uncle Jimmy began to love this burqa girl who miraculously transformed herself into the ancient Egyptian Queen Cleopatra, or the Grecian goddess of love Aphrodite. In a short time, her Uncle Jimmy has become everything to her. She can tolerate anything and sacrifice everything in life to have him with her forever. Amrita Khan is not bothered that her Uncle Jimmy has a wife and family. She had not been taught any social morals or guided by any code of ethics in life. She was born a Muslim, but in reality, she is irreligious, bordering on being an atheist girl. She has absorbed no family values and has not a clue what kind of commitment marriage entails. She knew that her new Indian lover had a wife and children, but she had seen none of them. She thought that every man in the world was allowed to have more than one wife. She remembered her Saudi husband used to have 3 wives besides her. She has also recollected that the Bollywood film director Mahmood Khan used to have another woman while he imprisoned her in his farmhouse and secretly married her as a second Muslim wife. Nevertheless, Uncle Jimmy is the one who brought up the fact that they must consider getting married. He told her that they could not live as lovers continuously. In actuality, Jimmy is worried that his small Muslim girlfriend may leave him as soon as her Hindu mother arrives from India. Amrita had already told Jimmy that her Hindu mother wanted her to marry her cousin brother Rahul Patel, who is living in the same city, and soon he is going to be a medical doctor. Jimmy knew as well as any Indian that no Indian woman would allow her small daughter to marry a man who was as old as her father. Moreover, he knew that her mother would not agree for her daughter to marry a man who was already married and had children. In addition, he is a mere cab driver, and her daughter is Miss World. To prevent such an unpleasant and abrupt end to their blossoming love affair, Uncle Jimmy decided to marry Amrita Khan before her Hindu mother flew in from India and arrived in the States. Another important factor that led the cabbie, Jimmy, to think of marrying his Muslim girlfriend is the fact that she is already pregnant. He discovered too late that she was 3 months since she was impregnated by him. They had never used a condom since the first day they went to the king bed together. Of course, the serious issue Uncle Jimmy is grappling with is how to marry his Muslim girlfriend Amrita Khan when he is already legally married to one wife. In the meantime, Uncle Jimmy never missed a single night at home with his Indian wife and their children. His secret love affair with Amrita remained hidden from his family. He does not want to divorce his first wife or let her know about his secret love affair with a 20-year-old Muslim girl. At wit's end, he approached an Islamic imam and discussed his problem with him. This is the same imam the two lovers Rahul and Emily went to seek his help concerning the homeless Muslim girl who came to their apartment. He told them to take their homeless Muslim girl to a Christian church or a Hindu temple. Then he kicked them out of his holy mosque and threatened to call the cops on them. The imam of the mosque has advised Jimmy to keep his first wife and marry his young Muslim girlfriend. He told him that Islam permits a man to marry up to 4 wives at the same time. He reassured him that Muslims practice polygamy in all of Europe and the 2 Americas. He also cited other non-Muslim countries such as India, Canada, and Australia. The imam gave him 2 choices: live in adultery with his girlfriend or marry her according to the Holy Book of Allah, the Quran, and the blessed Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. He also posed the question of which is the greater evil, disobeying the standards for a true Muslim or the infidel system of secular marriage. The imam asked him to choose between that which is right according to the Sharia law of Allah or the American law, which forbids polygamy while permitting a man to sleep with any number of women without marrying them. It is either follow a man-made law that presently allows homosexual marriages and sodomy, premarital sex, and extramarital adultery, or obey a divine law that forbids the same, but allows the man to marry 4 women at the same time and has halal sex with them. Since the imam made such a compelling argument, Jimmy agreed to the idea of taking a second wife. He discussed this with Amrita. He explained that since she was already carrying his child in her womb, they should get married before she delivers her baby, failing which, the Muslim Indian community may treat them as adulterers and consider their baby a bastard. Amrita told Jimmy that whatever can keep her with him she is more than ready to do. Even if Jimmy had not asked her to marry him, Amrita would not have cared what the Muslim Indian community may say about her. So long as she can spend her days with him, she will be content. She remembered that the Muslim community in Saudi Arabia did not bother to condemn the old man who tied her up when she was 7 years old and started to rape her when she was 9. And when she appeared before the Jeddah Islamic court at the age of 11 with a baby in her womb, the Sharia court did not rescue her from her kidnapper and rapist, but gave him the right to continue imprisoning her and raping her. Accordingly, Amrita said to her boyfriend, "Let the Indian Muslim community go to hell." She told him further that she does not care what any damned Muslim in America is going to say about her baby when he is born. She said to him, "Muslims call the rape of a 9-year-old female by a 54-year-old man marriage, and sex between lovers is considered by their adultery. Furthermore, the Quran allows marriage to underage brides." Surah Al-Talaq 65, verse 4. In the end, Amrita agrees to the marriage because Jimmy reminds her of the fact that, legality aside, her Hindu mother will probably force them to part from each other the moment she arrives from India and compel her to wed the Indian boy she has already chosen for her, the Hindu cousin Rahul Patel. Eventually, the 2 intimate lovers knew and understood that the halal matrimonial union was the only available choice for them. Chapter 47. The Golden Castle of Love and Sex. The marriage of Amrita Khan and her lover Uncle Jimmy took place shortly after they decided to wed. They have not invited or informed any Muslim man or Muslima woman about their secret marriage. Uncle Jimmy knows that most of the immigrants in their neighborhood know that he is a married man and has children with his first Muslim wife. By the way, Amrita Khan did not know that her lover was a Muslim like her and that his real name was Jamal Khan until the imam of the mosque with 2 Muslim male witnesses came to her apartment and conducted their halal Islamic marriage contract. After that, the officially recognized Islamic muezzin received his fees and left the apartment of the newly wedded couple, followed by his 2 men who signed the marriage contract as witnesses. After he arrived in America, the Indian cabbie Jamal Khan preferred to be called Jimmy for social, racial, and religious reasons. When he arrived newly in the United States of America, he discovered that his Muslim name, Jamal Khan, is associated in the minds of many non-Muslim Americans with terrorism. When he began to work as a cabbie, he kept telling people, "My name is Khan, but I am not a terrorist." However, that behavior did not make much difference. Eventually, he decided to tell people his name was Jimmy, and that saved him a lot of social troubles and religious and racial discrimination. After their marriage, Amrita does not need to change her last name to Khan because her husband already has the same family's common surname as most of the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent countries. On the wedding day, the newly wedded couple decided to do something special to celebrate their marriage. They planned to spend 3 days of their honeymoon together in a beautiful hotel. The lovely bride agreed to fulfill her heart's desire for her handsome bridegroom, and she stepped outside her apartment without her Islamic black burqa for the first time since the day she arrived on the soil of the United States of America. She put on her fancy wedding gown and walked hand in hand with her bridegroom. The Indian cabbie Jamal Khan alias Jimmy has agreed to spend 3 nights with his second Muslim wife Aphrodite Krishna Khan alias Amrita Khan away from his first Muslim wife Rayhana Khan for the first time since they married in Mumbai. He made excuses and fooled his first wife into believing he had a 3-day mandatory meeting for taxi drivers in a nearby city so he could spend time honeymooning with his small new bride. Jimmy took his lovely bride around the city during those 3 days and toured many vacation spots. The newlywed couple visited almost every major popular entertainment place available to them during their 3-day honeymoon. Everything she desired and dreamed about in life, the bride Amrita is now enjoying with her new husband. They ate the best food, watched the most interesting Bollywood movies, saw the most beautiful places, and enjoyed unbridled sex. They ate food from an Indian cuisine, a Chinese restaurant, and an Arab restaurant called Alibaba serving Lebanese dishes. In short, the new bride, Amrita Khan, indulged in a cloud of blissfulness. If a human being can worship another human being, Amrita Khan and Uncle Jimmy have worshipped each other due to the deep love they have in their hearts for one another. After their 3 days of honeymoon, Amrita Khan came up with the idea of buying her own house and turning it into a beautiful love nest. During their honeymoon, she revealed her hidden treasure to her handsome husband and told him that she had over $100 million in her overseas account. Amrita Khan happened to have with her all the official Swiss bank papers of Aphrodite Krishna Khan in her handbag. When her Hindu mother got arrested in Germany, she left all those important documents with her Muslim daughter. After her release from the women's jail, the American police returned to her all her belongings, Indian passport, and bank papers along with the $65,000 in cash. At first, her new Muslim husband hesitated to accept her proposal. Her Uncle Jimmy advised her to wait until her Hindu mother arrived from India and then she should seek her advice before she took such a big step. Nevertheless, Amrita Khan insisted that she wanted to live with her beloved husband in their residence and wait for their baby to be born so they could live happily ever after. Somehow, her former married life in the 2 mansions of terror with her 2 evil kidnappers made her believe every married Muslima must live in a castle of gold with her Muslim husband. The lovely bride Amrita Khan told her handsome groom Uncle Jimmy that her Hindu mother loves her so much and will never stop her from doing something that is good for her and makes her happy. Howbeit, Jimmy is worried that his wife's mother may accuse him of using her young daughter and manipulating her into marriage to get access to her money and property and to purchase a mansion for him. He is painfully aware of the huge age difference between him and his second wife and of her seemingly childish nature. Thus, Jimmy realized that he may also be taken to court for influencing a young girl who is as old as his daughter, taking advantage of her youth and immaturity, and beguiling her in the name of love. Nonetheless, Amrita refuses to accept all the objections and worries of her new husband and is determined she should indeed buy a house for them to live in. The house that Amrita finally decided on has been chosen from a selection of homes on the market listed by a real estate agency. It has a market value of $5 million, which made Jimmy balk. He suggested a more moderate home of lesser value, but she refused to listen to him. To make her come to her senses, Jimmy threatens to leave her and divorce her if she does not listen to him. When he said he would divorce her, his words troubled her so much and cut a deep wound down into her heart and made her drop to her knees and cry like a baby girl. Jimmy, as usual, backed down and begged her to forgive him because he could not bear to see her unhappy and in tears. Naturally, in this way, Amrita Khan got her way and bought her own house in the United States of America. She spent another $500,000 furnishing and decorating her new nest of love. After a couple of months, from the day she got married to her lover, Amrita moved from her apartment to her new palace. Her mansion also has a swimming pool, and as soon as she moved to her new castle, Amrita bought a brand new Mercedes-Benz car. She has neither a learner's driver's license nor knows how to drive a car, so she made her husband drive her around. She also bought online a beautifully made handcrafted golden swing in India. They also purchased a couple of love hammocks made in the USA. Then Amrita and Jimmy began to experiment with their new pieces of enjoyment. They exhausted more than 101 sexual styles of the Kama Sutra. They started collecting books and videos on the same subject so that they could imitate the most favored of the ancient sex positions. The Kama in Sanskrit means pleasure. Like his new wife, the Indian Kabi Jamal Khan, who is also known as Jimmy, is just a Muslim in name, but not a religious man at all. He neither prays 5 times in the day nor fasts during the month of Ramadan. Meanwhile, Miss World Aphrodite Krishna Khan discovered the beauty of love after she had lost all hope in life and spent 7 years of her childhood in abject poverty and 11 years of her life in kidnap, captivity, and brutal rapes. By accident, she stumbled upon the tree of life and the forbidden fruit of pleasure and desire. Her life turned into an earthly paradise after having suffered for so long the abuse of selfish men for many years. She found someone to love her not because of her unmatched beauty or her millions of dollars, but because of her childish and innocent nature. After she fell in love and married her Uncle Jimmy, Amrita Khan concluded that she needed nothing more in life except him. She just wants to be with him and enjoy her life with him forever. Everything a young girl of her age may want from life, Amrita has obtained and surpassed and continues to enjoy every day. In her new castle of love, Amrita Khan is living her new life as queen of her universe with her king Uncle Jimmy and waiting for her little princess to be born. Chapter 48. The Irrational Racial Stipulation of Inheritance. After Amrita Khan is held on a charge of being a suspected Muslim terrorist, Rahul and Emily move on and continue their daily life as if nothing serious happened to them. They have not visited their detained female guest or tried to find out what happened to her. To them, she was just a transient vagrant, albeit a very pretty one, who was an unwanted female guest for 2 days before the law enforcement authority removed her. Not long after that, Rahul received a phone call from India. It is on a Saturday afternoon time while Rahul and Emily are having lunch at their apartment. It was Emily who responded to the phone call. The caller told her that he wanted to speak to Mr. Rahul Patel. Emily passed the receiver to her boyfriend and continued her lunch. When she saw Rahul stiffen up, drop the phone, and slowly sink to his knees weeping, she knew that the phone call from India did not bring with it the good news. She guessed that he had lost his mother or someone dear to him. Instead of asking him what the sad news was about, she picked up the receiver and talked to the caller who was still on the line. The caller introduced himself as the lawyer for the estate of Mrs. Lakshmi Patel and repeated his request to talk to her son, Rahul Patel. Emily explained that Rahul was weeping and overwhelmed and that she did not know what news he had received that caused him to be in such a sad state. The lawyer told her that Rahul's mother was murdered in Baroda city by some gangsters who broke into her house at midnight and stole her jewelry and other costly items. Pausing, the lawyer then explained that Mrs. Lakshmi Patel was murdered 3 months ago. What surprised Emily is that the murder was committed over 90 days ago, and since then no one had informed her son of her death. She tried to find out from the lawyer why her boyfriend was only being notified 3 months after the demise of his mother. The lawyer sounded apologetic when he stated that he was only appointed recently by the Baroda court to execute the will of the late Mrs. Lakshmi Patel. Then, he requested the American girl to pass the phone to her Indian friend Rahul because there was some confidential information he needed to disclose. Emily hesitated and then told the lawyer that her boyfriend was not in any condition to talk to right then. She added that he should call tomorrow at the same time and hopefully by then her Indian boyfriend may be able to overcome his shock. Rahul does not know that his mother had died a while back. It has been his habit, since arriving in America, to wait for his mother to phone him rather than call her. His mother authorized her bank in India to make monthly payments of $3,000 every month to his American bank account. Unless it is serious, Rahul never bothered to call, instead preferring to wait for his mother's bi-monthly checkups on him. As all mothers go, she would ask about his studies and his health. Since she was a healthy woman and wealthy, Rahul always assumed that nothing would happen to his mother. That day, for the second time in his life, someone close to him has left him. Rahul lost his father in a terrorist attack on the Taj Mahal Hotel in Mumbai. At that time, the only relatives he had besides his mother were his auntie Rani Krishna and her son Samir Krishna Khan, who were living in Mumbai. His mother phoned him over a year ago and told him that his cousin Samir was murdered by a rival lover during the shooting of a Bollywood movie he was acting in. Rahul Patel did not shed a single tear because his cousin Samir Krishna Khan happened to have Islamic blood running in his veins, a Hindu mother and a Muslim father. Rahul's mother did mention at some point that his auntie Rani has adopted a girl. She told him further that the girl inherited 500 crores of rupees from her deceased parents, and she was recently crowned Miss World. Then, she conveyed the good news that his auntie and his mother had planned to get the gorgeous multi-millionaire girl married to Rahul Patel. Rahul initially accepted the arranged marriage proposal, but he told his mother that he would not give his final decision until he had met in person and talked to the chosen rich and beautiful girl. When his mother's lawyer called the following day, he informed a still grieving Rahul that a couple of days before her murder, his mother had added a provision to her will, and it is legally binding. According to her new will, her son should not be allowed to inherit a single rupee from her if he does not marry the Indian girl that she has chosen for him. Moreover, the will has specified that his bride should be the adopted daughter of his auntie Rani Krishna and her name is Aphrodite Krishna Khan. Rahul is shocked when he learns that the unwanted Burqa girl who came to his apartment recently is the one that his mother and auntie had chosen to be his future Indian wife. Moreover, he could not comprehend the sudden change in his mother's attitude towards Muslims, which led her to choose a Muslim girl for her Hindu son. The lawyer concluded his phone conversation by explaining that his mother's will specifically state a stipulation that if my son Rahul Patel refuses to abide by my condition of marrying his female cousin and chooses instead to marry a white girl or any other girl, then my entire inheritance should go to my sister's daughter, Aphrodite Krishna Khan. The late Mrs. Lakshmi Patel inserted part of this clause before meeting Aphrodite Krishna Khan. She had merely inserted the name later. With her vast network of confidants, she was well aware that her son has with him in his apartment a live-in and immoral white promiscuous girlfriend who is fornicating with her son without the benefit of marriage. When her sister and daughter came to seek refuge in her house, she got to know her niece well and was sorely tempted by her niece's beauty and inherited a huge fortune. Eventually, being the overprotective Indian mother that she is, she makes this important decision for her only son. He would either marry her niece or he should not inherit a single rupee from her. Rahul had initially decided to marry the Indian girl his mother had chosen for him because he wanted to please her and he needed to secure his position as her only heir. Now that his mother had passed away, he began to change his mind. He preferred to marry his white girlfriend, Emilia Vagdvariestis, rather than marry a Muslim girl he had no emotional attachment to. However, the condition that his late mother inserted into her inheritance created a serious problem for him. He shared his problem with his American girlfriend. When she heard the stipulation, Emily was shocked and she also became outraged. She told him that his mother was an irrational and backward woman. How could she make such a condition for her grown-up son? Emily, given her upbringing, believed that his mother's precondition revealed that she was a domineering and self-serving old Indian woman. Besides, her boyfriend's mother put her culture above the personal choice of her educated son. For that reason, Emily tells Rahul to forget about the inheritance of his selfish late mother and live his life the way he wants. She concluded her words by saying that his late mother's stipulation for her son to inherit her wealth and property is the most disgusting racial stipulation she ever heard of in her entire life. Notwithstanding, Rahul is determined not to allow a single rupee of his family's inheritance to go to a Muslim girl who has no right to it. His reasoning is based on the fact that whatever fortune his mother has left behind belonged to his late Hindu father. He told his girlfriend that he would never allow a dirty Muslim girl to inherit the wealth of his family when his father was killed by Muslims for no reason whatsoever. Rahul has become exceedingly angry at his late mother for daring to include the name of a Muslim girl in the inheritance of his Hindu father. Later, however, when his anger has calmed down, he began to have second thoughts. He admitted to his white girlfriend that his mother would probably never have done anything like that. His mother is not exactly fond of Islam either. She abhorred the followers of that terrorist religion with bitterness because they deprived her of her husband. He then claimed that some forgery or sleight of hand must be responsible for this latest development in her will. Rahul suspected that his auntie Rani Krishna might have had a hand in the conspiracy against his deceased mother. The will that dictated he should marry the adopted Muslim daughter of his auntie or stand to lose his inheritance only served to strengthen his belief that his auntie Rani Krishna was somehow behind the forgery. Oddly, his auntie did not come along with her adopted Muslim daughter. His mother had already told him that both his auntie Rani and the girl she had chosen for him were on their way to the States. It made sense that the tale of her 500 crores of rupees inheritance from her Muslim parents is a complete fabrication and part of an elaborate evil scheme to get hold of his rightful inheritance. Rahul decided there and then to fly to India and investigate this Muslim girl Aphrodite Krishna Khan. With any luck, he can find out how this Muslim girl managed to infiltrate the Hindu Krishna family and eventually stand to claim the rights of inheritance not just from his auntie Rani, but also from his dearly departed mother. The biggest question on his mind is how his mother's will had been altered and by whose hand. Rahul wants to go to India alone, but his American girlfriend insists on accompanying him. Emily had heard too many stories of Indian boys who left their white girlfriends in the West and traveled to India only to come back with the traditional ever-agreeable Indian brides. She does not want to be the next disposable victim of this particular cultural practice that made no sense whatsoever to her, and this is a prudent measure to ensure she gets what she deserves after a long engagement with her Indian lover and fiancé. Her curiosity at how things are unfolding has in no small way prevented the outcome and decision made for him by his dominating late mother and selfish auntie. In any case, she is keen to see how her Indian boyfriend behaves away from the States. Chapter 49. The trip of the other two lovers to India. When the other two friends, the Indian lover Rahul Patel and his American girlfriend Amelia Vagdvaryestis arrived in Baroda city, the pretrial hearings of Rani Krishna versus Lakshmi Patel were underway. The Bollywood female director is accused of arranging the murder of her only sister. The three killers claimed that she had paid the ringleader of their gang a substantial amount of money to kill her sister Lakshmi Patel because she wanted to get her wealth. Of course, the female suspect Rani Krishna categorically denied all the allegations against her. She stated that she had only come to know of the murder of her sister when she was detained in Germany by the Berlin police enforcement. She admitted that she had visited her sister and stayed in her house at Baroda for 3 days before fleeing to New Delhi with her adopted daughter Aphrodite Krishna Khan. From New Delhi, they flew to Germany. Rani mentioned that her daughter is under threat of death by the Muslim terrorists of the notorious international Indian gang ringleader, Dawood Ibrahim, after the controversial statement she made about Islam during her interview at the beauty contest in London. Rani stressed that at no time did she ever covet her sister's wealth or seek financial assistance from her. In mitigation, she claimed that the combined assets of her daughter and her are more than 100 times more than her late sister's estate. While she has a bank balance of 70 crores of rupees, she has a house in Mumbai and gold worth another 20 crores. Her adopted Muslim daughter has in her Swiss bank 553 crores of rupees plus overseas property in Saudi Arabia. Therefore, her adopted daughter alone has wealth equal to $100 million. As with most cases of this nature, Rani Krishna is detained without bail for 3 months, after which she contacted many of her Bollywood friends and requested they help post bail for her, but none of her high society girlfriends agreed to help her out. She cannot post bail herself because she is the prime suspect. She tried to contact her nephew in the USA where her daughter is supposed to be staying, but she could not because the phone number is listed in his white girlfriend's name, which she does not know he has. Ronnie's lawyer tried to contact Aphrodite through Rahul's cell phone number, only to find out he had switched cell phone companies. At the time, Rahul and his girlfriend Emily have left America and are on their way to India. Aphrodite has already got married and set up a house with her husband Uncle Jimmy in some unknown location after she had been released from prison because the FBI had exonerated her from the charge of a suspected female terrorist. Ronnie Krishna is all alone in jail, with no choice but to wait for the outcome of her trial, expected to take more than a year. News of the arrival of her nephew has been conveyed to her first through her lawyer. She felt happy initially when she learned her late sister's son had come from the States. She began to count on him as the one who was going to bail her out or help her to contact her daughter. However, when her nephew visits her at the jail, she is shocked when he accuses her of arranging the murder of his mother. He told her that she had planned the murder of his mother because she wanted to force him to marry the Muslim girl that she sent to the States. He swore to her by all his Hindu gods that he would not return to America until he saw to it that she received the full punishment under the law for the murder of her sister and for the sake of trying to gain her property and wealth. Ronnie Krishna wept when she heard the heartbreaking words of her late sister's son. She asked him to tell her where her Muslim daughter was. He added more sorrow to her bleeding heart when he told her that her Muslim daughter had been arrested by the FBI and charged with planning to carry out a terrorist attack on American soil. Ronnie wept uncontrollably for her daughter more than she wept for herself. She blamed herself for sending her innocent daughter all alone to America. She knew that her Muslim daughter was not mature enough to take care of herself or prove her innocence against those serious false charges she was being held for. She concluded that it was yet another evil plot conspired against her daughter by the likes of none other than Dawood Ibrahim and his Muslim terrorists. Ronnie understood that the only way to get her daughter out of the American prison was to convince Rahul that her daughter was innocent. She knows that he is the only one who can help her in this desperate situation. Although he broke her heart by accusing her of murdering his mother, still his mother's sister Ronnie has decided to solicit him again and convince him to help. She understood that her nephew was not going to help her unless she convinced him first of her innocence, and then she could expect him to help in proving the innocence of her daughter. At first, she thought of writing a letter to him, but she changed her mind. Then, she requested her lawyer telephone her relative Rahul Patel and ask him to come and meet his mother's sister Ronnie Krishna again in the Baroda Women's Jail because she has some important information to share with him about the murder of his mother. With much difficulty, the lawyer succeeded in convincing Rahul to revisit his imprisoned auntie in jail and listen to what she was going to share with him regarding the murder of his mother. This time, Rahul came to the prison along with his white girlfriend Emily. Ronnie did not know that her late sister's son had an American girlfriend until he came to meet her on his second visit. This fact brought more grief to her already grieving heart and squashed her dreams of having her Muslim daughter Aphrodite married to him. Given her situation, she hid her pain and showed no reaction. She just pretended not to be concerned about it in the least. Rahul has purposely brought his American girlfriend Emily to see Ronnie's reaction. He believes that his mother's sister is interested in getting him married to the Muslim girl she has adopted as her daughter and sent her to his apartment in the USA. "Why have you called me here to meet with you again?" said Rahul angrily. "Can we talk in Hindi instead of English?" responded his mother's sister. "Why do you want to hide what you have to say from my girlfriend Emily?" "I have no secrets to hide from anyone. But I believe that what I am going to reveal to you, my son, is a family matter, and for that reason, I prefer that it be kept confidential. Emily is my fiancée, and hence she is going to be part of my family very soon. Well, before I reveal what I have called you here for, I would like to ask you a few questions." "What questions?" "My first question is, why do you believe I would have in any way planned the murder of your dear mother and my beloved sister?" "Because you want to get a share of her inheritance. You are the only son she has, and hence legally you are the only one who can inherit from her. I suppose you have no idea that my mother changed her personal inheritance statement a couple of days before her murder. To inherit her property, I am required to marry your Muslim daughter. In her will, she stipulated that, if my son refused to marry the adopted daughter of my sister and decided to marry another girl, then he could not inherit a single rupee from me and all my property and money should go to my sister Rani's daughter, Aphrodite. Oh my God, I never knew that your mother had made such a stipulation in her will. Of course, you knew it, and that is why you sent me your adopted Muslim daughter to the USA. For money's sake, some greedy Indians are prepared to do anything, even murdering their parents and in your case your sister. But let it be known to you that I am not going to marry your dumb Muslim daughter. First of all, can you tell me how much the market value of your mother's house is and how much is in her bank account that she left behind for you to inherit? The market value of her house is 1.5 crores and her bank balance is 5 crores. So, you think that I arranged the murder of my beloved sister because I wanted to inherit 6.5 crores of rupees by getting her son married to my daughter? Yes, you did that. I know that some people in India arrange the murders of their parents through gangsters to inherit houses with market values less than 1 crore Indian rupees. Will you still believe that I had your mother killed because of 6.5 crores when you learn that my adopted Muslim daughter, Aphrodite Krishna Khan, has more than 550 crores of rupees in her overseas bank accounts and has 3 houses abroad, in Jeddah City, plus a 15-floor building in Saudi Arabia which has the market value of $25 million. As for me, I have a bank balance of 70 crores of rupees, a house in Mumbai, and gold worth another 20 crores. Do you still think I have arranged your mother's murder because of a few crores of rupees? Come on, Rani, give me a break. Do you think I am that much of a fool to believe such nonsense? Even the king of Bollywood, the film superstar Amitabh Bachchan, could not make more than 300 crores rupees in all his days of acting. So, how can you and your Muslim daughter have all this money and houses and property? Even the daughter of the richest man in India does not have half of that amount of money you have said that your adopted Muslim daughter has under her name in an overseas bank. I am not obligated to tell you where my daughter and I have acquired our wealth or assets. Still, I believe I have to prove to you and the Baroda Criminal Court that my daughter has an overseas bank balance in Zurich in the amount of 553 crores of rupees. Her total wealth is equal to $100 million. You can go to my lawyer and look at the official bank statement of her net worth about her bank account balance alone, obtained from Switzerland as stated in the immigration declaration requirements for the U.S. Embassy. I wouldn't believe it even if I had seen the bank statement. However, let us say for the sake of argument that your daughter has an unbelievably obscene amount of money in her bank. Do you think that I can marry a smelly burqa girl like the one you sent to me in the States because of her money? Rahul, shouted Rani angrily, you have no right to call my daughter a smelly girl. She is a Muslim girl after all, and she did not wash her body or change her filthy black burqa for days when she came to stay in our apartment in the States. You can ask my girlfriend Emily if you don't believe me. And you know that I hate Muslims because they killed my father when they stormed the Taj Mahal Hotel in Bombay, spraying bullets indiscriminately on all innocent guests. So, you of all persons should know my feelings towards Muslims. Therefore, even if a Muslim girl has billions of dollars, I am not going to marry her. First of all, not every Muslim killed your father. Secondly, my Muslim daughter acted as a heroine in a Bollywood film production, and because of her unmatched beauty, she became Miss India. You can say whatever you would like about your so-called Muslim daughter, but you can't prove it. Okay, I know you are an educated boy and you know how to search on the internet. Just go to Google and type the name Aphrodite Krishna Khan. You will discover that my daughter has been crowned this year's Miss World in London, UK. You have just said she is Miss India and now you have made her Miss World. It simply makes no sense. Forget all this and tell me exactly why you have called me here. And for your kind information, whosoever or whatever your Muslim daughter may be, I am not going to leave my American girlfriend, Emily, and marry a Muslim girl. I have not called you here because I want to beg you to marry my daughter. And for your kind information, my daughter is a Muslim by name only, and she is not a devout Muslim by any stretch of the imagination. She was indeed born and brought up as a Muslim girl, but since I adopted her, I have never seen her read the Quran once or pray to Allah. I also was the one who asked her to put on the burqa because I didn't want anyone to recognize her. If you believe she is the most beautiful girl in the world, why do you want to hide her face behind an ugly burqa? That is why I have called you to come and meet me again here today. I want to tell you that your mother had been killed because of my daughter. I don't understand you. Just come to the point and tell me who killed my mother and why she was killed. Before I tell you who killed your mother, I must tell you why I told her under no circumstances she should not show her face in public, and I had changed her name from Aphrodite to Amrita for fear the same people that killed your mother would try to murder her as well. I don't believe there is any connection between the murder of my mother and the problem of your Muslim daughter. Before you jump to a hasty conclusion, let me tell you there is a relation. When my daughter received her crown as Miss World in London, she referred to the Prophet Muhammad as my foot, because he married and slept with a 9-year-old female child called Aisha, and she also threatened to spit in the Holy Quran because there is a verse in it that permits and encourages pedophilia. Her controversial statements led the notorious international Muslim terrorist, Dawood Ibrahim, who is hiding in Dubai, to plot her assassination through his terrorists in Mumbai on the very day of our return from London. His Muslim terrorists chased my daughter from city to city. They came to know somehow that we had fled from Mumbai and were hiding in the house of your mother at Baroda. But when they reached your mother's house, my daughter and I had already left for New Delhi. When they did not find us in Baroda, they murdered your mother and stole her costly valuables. What is your evidence? Do you have anything to prove your claims in court? My lawyer has collected enough evidence to prove everything I have said to you. Your mother isn't the only victim. Some Christian nuns in New Delhi also were attacked by the same ruthless terrorists. Those nuns sheltered us for a few days before we finally managed to escape to Germany. 2 of those nuns, who were known as Annie and Nancy, were brutally raped, and another nun called Mary was murdered by those wicked terrorists. If you do not believe my words, you can go to my lawyer, or you can get the address of the South Indian Christian nun's house from him and travel to New Delhi and talk to the pastor and other nuns yourself. There is one more victim in Mumbai. She is a brave Hindu female police officer by the name of Radha Krishna Vishwas, and she was just 22-year-old when she got tortured and raped. She saved the life of my daughter at the last moment. She informed us about the assassination plot against my Muslim daughter on our arrival from London, and our small private plane landed at the Santa Cruz airport. For that reason, Dawood Ibrahim's terrorists punished the courageous Hindu policewoman in a gruesome way. They stripped her naked and gang-raped her in broad daylight in front of all her neighbors. She was put on exhibit fully naked before hundreds of onlookers. Finally, they shot her hands and legs, making her handicapped for life when she was just a young policewoman. The same Muslim terrorists dropped a bomb from a military hijacked chopper on my house at Bandra and burned it to the ground. They also planted 5 bombs at the construction site where my daughter was building housing for the homeless street children of Bombay. The bodies of around 150 innocent construction workers and their 40 babies were blown in bits and pieces by those powerful bombs, and the place became a mass grave. Okay, if Dawood Ibrahim's terrorists were after your daughter's life while she was in India, why did you want her not to be recognized when she arrived in America? Why did you tell her to hide her true identity and cover her entire body in a black burqa when she came to my apartment? Why did she lie to us by saying her name is Amrita Khan when her passport was issued under a different name, Aphrodite Krishna Khan, which does not make any sense to me? This is another reason I asked you to come and meet me here. I want you to contact the FBI and inform them my daughter has been arrested in America under false charges. I believe that Dawood Ibrahim's terrorists supplied false information about my daughter to the FBI police agents. Most probably, such false information caused the American authorities to believe, because she is a Muslim woman, then she is involved in some kind of terrorist activity against innocent American citizens. But as I have mentioned, my daughter herself is a victim of a terrorist scheme to kill her. Rahul knew that Ronnie's daughter was arrested by the American police, not because of false information supplied by anyone in India, but because his jealous white girlfriend wanted to get rid of her due to her unmatchable beauty. Howbeit, he decided not to expose his American girlfriend. For that reason, he told his mother's sister that he was going to verify all the claims she made about her Muslim daughter before he could decide what to do next. So, without giving any promise or hope, Rahul Patel left the rich film female director Rani Krishna behind bars and walked away while holding the hand of his white girlfriend Emily. Chapter 50. The inquiry into the identity of the Muslim girl of the black burqa. Notwithstanding, the second meeting of Rahul Patel with Rani Krishna created some doubts in his mind. He found himself facing some challenging questions. If what my mother's sister has said about her adopted Muslim daughter is true, then why would she arrange the murder of my mother? If her Muslim daughter truly has over 553 crores of rupees and other overseas properties in her possession, why would her Hindu mother plan the assassination of her sister for the sake of having a share in a 6 crore inheritance? If her daughter won Miss India and was crowned Miss World, then why would she plot the murder of her close female relative? Why had my mother insisted in her will that I must marry the daughter of her sister? Rahul understood that the only way to get reliable answers for those challenging questions was to begin his search on the internet, without his envious girlfriend's knowledge. After hearing his imprisoned auntie's incredible claims, his white girlfriend Emily time and time again warns him that he is being deceived and entrapped by an elaborate scheme of Indian crooks. She told him that in America, the legal system in India is known for its corruption. He believed his lawyer might already have forged many documents to clear his female client from the murder charge. She refused to believe that the burqa girl who came to their apartment in the States and slept one day in their garage and another day in their kitchen could have over $100 million in an overseas bank account. She also said to her boyfriend that no one in the entire world can convince her that that smelly Muslim girl who stayed in their apartment for 2 days without washing her body until she was forced by her to do so could be a film actress. She said further that she would never believe that that smelly burqa girl who defiled their couch and made their bathroom a filthy mess could be Miss World. Emily went to the extent of saying to Rahul that even if she has seen that smelly Paki girl being crowned Miss World in front of her own eyes, she cannot believe it. In short, the white girlfriend of Rahul has accused his mother's sister and her lawyer of creating and forging all the documents needed to perpetrate fraud upon the court and have all the charges against the prime female suspect Rani Krishna get dismissed. She also believes that his auntie had changed the name of her Muslim daughter to claim that she is the present crowned Miss World. For that reason, Emily advised her boyfriend not to waste his time searching the internet or going to the other attorney's office. Rahul has doubts because the claims are going to be exceedingly difficult to prove if all this is a deception. His mother's sister was right when she said such claims could easily be proved or disproved through simple investigations. A simple search can confirm or disprove Rani's claims about her adopted daughter as the beauty queen of India and Miss World of the entire free world. With such thought in mind, while his jealous American girlfriend was sleeping, the Indian boyfriend slipped out of the bedroom and decided to put his ideas into action. Just like a cat searching for food in darkness or a thief in the night who has come to steal something, Rahul has tiptoed sneaking into the living room where the computer of his late mother is kept. Rahul is allowed by the Baroda police to stay in the house of his mother until the trial is over and the decision on the right heir of her inheritance is decided. Then, he followed the advice of the imprisoned Bollywood female director Rani and began to Google the name Aphrodite Krishna Khan. Hundreds of articles came up immediately. After reading just a few of them, he is convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is an Indian girl by that name who won Miss India and Miss World just a few months ago. He also found many YouTube videos showing the crowning of Aphrodite Krishna Khan as Miss India and Miss World. The doubting Thomas has been dumbstruck by the unmatchable beauty of the girl and her sexy, perfectly shaped body. He could not believe his eyes that there was a human being with such marvelous beauty. When he saw her with her face revealed while she was lying asleep on the couch in his apartment in the States, she did not appear to him as beautiful as he is seeing her now on her swimsuits and other dresses during competing in her beauty pageants in India as well as the UK. After overcoming the shock, he began to read more articles on the background of this goddess of beauty Aphrodite. He came to know that she played a role in a movie in Bollywood and she is originally from Iran. For that reason, she is known in Bollywood as the Iranian heroine. He also found a video about her interview with a famous Bollywood film magazine, which is called Cineblitz, after she was crowned Miss Mumbai. In the interview, Aphrodite claimed to have started building a 25-story building to provide shelter for over 50,000 homeless and slum children in Mumbai. Rahul spent 4 hours sitting in front of the computer reading about Aphrodite Krishna Khan. He discovered that what his auntie had said about her adopted Muslim daughter to him is true. There are still a few lingering doubts in his mind, given his white girlfriend insisting something is amiss. Emily had told him that there might be a Miss World by the name his auntie had mentioned, and she might look like the burqa girl that came to their apartment in America. Sarcastically, the envious white girl said, "Indian women like Chinese girls look like each other just like female twins." Being an Indian himself, Rahul knows such a claim of his American girlfriend is just based on an irrational racial belief of some white people. But then how can he be able to verify the claim of his mother's sister that she has adopted this beautiful Muslim girl Aphrodite? Nevertheless, Rahul reasoned out that if Rani's other claims about her adopted daughter are proven to be true, then he has no right to doubt that the girl who came to his apartment in the States and the one who became Miss India, a Bollywood heroine, and Miss World is the same. For that reason, he decided to go to Rani's lawyer and find out about her claims that she adopted a Muslim daughter who is worth over 550 crores of rupees. Without the knowledge of his white girlfriend, Rahul looked up the law firm and met with the lawyer. The lawyer told him that his female client Rani Krishna had already contacted him and she had given her permission for her relative Rahul Patel to see all the documents that have been gathered for her defense at trial. The first document that he saw was an official bank balance of the overseas Swiss bank account of her daughter, Aphrodite Krishna Khan. The second document is an official bank transfer balance of her account from the Abu Dhabi International Bank to a Swiss bank. The official documents have not given Rahul any chance to doubt the genuineness of their sources. The lawyer told Rahul that if he still has any doubts about the truthfulness of the two documents, he can ask his mother's lawyer to contact him, and then both advocates can authenticate them from reliable sources. Rahul decided not to accept the lawyer's challenge. He apologized and reassured the lawyer that all his doubts had been removed. After that, the lawyer showed official police reports issued by the anti-terrorism squad of the Mumbai Police Department, which showed that Rani Krishna's house and Aphrodite Krishna Khan's construction site were both blown up by Dawood Ibrahim's terrorists in Bandra and Dharavi areas. The lawyer showed him another report of the female Hindu police officer, who is known as Radha Krishna Vishwas, was stripped naked and gang-raped by 6 terrorists in front of many residents at the building where she used to live in the Goregaon area. The last official evidence that the lawyer showed Rahul is the dossier that contained the statements of the South Indian nuns, which were taken by New Delhi police officers. Their statements revealed that some Muslim terrorists broke into their faith home residence and asked them to reveal the hiding place of Rani Krishna and Miss World Aphrodite Krishna Khan. The statements revealed further that although the nuns had already told the Muslim terrorists that Rani and Aphrodite had fled from India and flew to Berlin in Germany, they still raped 2 of them and murdered the 3rd nun. After meeting the lawyer of Rani and watching the internet videos of Miss World, Rahul no longer has any doubts about Aphrodite. His conscience troubled him so much when he remembered the inhumane way he and his white girlfriend had treated her when she came to stay with them in the States. He recollected that they had treated her like an untouchable outcast girl, defiled by birth, or like a Muslim young woman infected with a contagious disease such as plague or that caused by a coronavirus. Feelings of angst rose within him when he realized that he had just humiliated the richest girl in India and the most beautiful girl in the world who was supposed to be his wife. A wife who is going to bring with her over $100 million in dowry was made to sleep on a concrete slab in a 2-car garage and a hard-tiled kitchen floor of their apartment. Moreover, Rahul also recollected how he tried to smuggle her from his apartment and keep her in the basement with his Indian friend and his new Indian bride. His envious and wicked white girlfriend had falsely accused her of a terrorist charge and sent her behind bars before he could smuggle her from his apartment. After concluding his inquiries, Rahul understood why his late mother had changed her inheritance will and made this new condition impact him. He concluded that his mother changed her mind about her hate for Muslims when saw the unmatched beauty of Aphrodite Krishna Khan and knew about the millions of dollars she had. His mother wanted her son to marry one of the most beautiful girls in the world and share her huge fortune. It dawned upon Rahul that his auntie's hands were not stained with his mother's blood. The moment Rahul got his facts straight, he lost all interest in his American girlfriend, Emily. His mind is now preoccupied with visions of Miss India, the Iranian heroine of Bollywood, and Miss World. He started to envision life with his beautiful bride. He knew before he knew she was Miss World and the richest Indian girl. He became crazy after her marvelous beauty and sexy body when he saw her lying on the couch without her black burqa and tried to hide her somewhere from his envious white girlfriend. But oh now, after he came to know she is over $100 million and all these worldly unmatchable facial and bodily qualities, even if she is still in jail, he has to get her out by hook or crook, or if she dies and buried by the police authority, he should dig the earth and exhume her body out and marry her. In a noticeably short time, he became obsessed, spending hours discreetly looking at her photos and videos on the internet. Her marvelous beauty and sexy body kindled uncontrollable desires in him. He went as far as kissing her image on the computer screen. Before long, the crazy Indian Kais is masturbating to the swimsuit image of the Iranian Layla and the heroine of Bollywood, who is also the queen of the world beauty. While he tried to hide his new infatuation, his affection and desire for his American girlfriend continued to wane, superseded by his new love interest. His white girlfriend Emily has been eclipsed by Miss World Aphrodite, and now she has become the former choice woman or an unwanted ex-girlfriend.